Well, hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on season 6, episode 3 of Natsume's Book of Friends. And yes, I know that this looks a bit crazy. But there's also like a bookshelf in the floor. I ordered some bookshelves earlier in the year, actually like around Christmas, and they just now are shipping. And I put together one today, but it is very heavy, and the person who's going to help me put it up was not able to come until tomorrow, so it's just going to sit in the floor. So you are seeing Romania's workspace in a work in progress mode, which is fine. By next week, it should all be cleared up and tip top and brand new and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I had my vacation, was good, ready to come back and dive back into Natsume's Book of Friends. I've missed this show. I've needed some comfort from Natsume while I was gone, and we are on episode 3 of season 6, which is wild. I'm not going to be reviewing the manga yet, not until after episode 6 of this season, so it's still going to be a little ways off, but I did have a comment from episode 1 of season 6 from Sunspots that I want to talk about before we dive into this episode. Sunspots said, if I ever needed a show to show someone an example of what healing one's inner child looks like, it would literally be this episode. It works entirely by itself, and then works that much better with 5 seasons of emotional growth behind it. We can have this impression that Natsume is fine now, but that's not how it works. So getting this episode reminds us that these Natsumes are one and the same. That frightened child never went anywhere, and he works hard every day to heal. There's so much in that comment that I really, really like, Sunspots, and so I wanted to bring it up before we start episode 3 of this season. One being that, yeah, the idea of healing one's inner child. I do think that episode 1 of season 6 could stand alone, but I think what makes it so special is, like they said, you have 5 seasons of growth with Natsume behind it, so it makes that episode hit that much harder. I think if the mangaka had made this basically plot line happen before this season, it wouldn't have had as much weight as it does now, especially with Tanuma and Taki and the growth that Natsume's done with them, and with Nyanko Sensei. You really needed all that growth between all of them for it to work. And then the part about Natsume, that inner child is still there. It's still here. It's still them. So I loved that in that episode, because Tanuma and Taki got to see just how insecure and traumatized Natsume really is deep down inside. And I think that's just going to like make their friendship that much stronger. So yeah, that episode was absolutely fantastic, and I was living for it. So yeah, next week, before we get started, next week is going to be a 2-part episode, which I'm really excited about. We're going to be watching episodes 4 and 5 together. It's one of the only two-parters we have this season, which is great. But before we begin, I want to give a shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon to thank you all so much for your support on the channel and of Natsume's Book of Friends. I want to give a shout out to Alex Cornejo, to Be Happy, to Bisa, to Damage3245, to Dana, to Devorin, to Danger Zone, as well as Destiny Marie, to Ichu, to Eric El Cuno, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, El Freya, Linden, Liam Polzel, Matthew Palfinier, Murphew, Willie Morris, Translucent Men, Sunspots, and Shimoyama. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. Yay! So anyway, that's what I got. Before we dive into this episode, it's been a while, so I'm excited to dive back in with you all, but we're not going to waste any more time. I did get, coming back from my vacation, a little bit of the gunk, as one does from flying and traveling and all that good stuff. So if I sound a little sniffly, it's because I am, but I feel much, much better than I did this morning and yesterday. But I do have a giant thing of water. I've been like snorkeling down, as it were. So anyway, we're going to start episode 3 of Natsume's Book of Friends, season 6. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's dive in. It feels very weird to have nothing on my walls. Not gonna lie. Feels very weird. I had to update my anime list because I hadn't updated it in like a month. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm on the Roku season now, you know. Uh, these are the kind of OPs I really like. I don't know if I've talked about it in other series. Also, I recently watched the movie The Summer that Sunspots had ironically recommended, and that heron there made me think of it, and now I want to cry all over again. But yeah, I like OPs like this because because they're not spoilery. They're just the imagery is that which relates to the season, but it's not spoilery, and I like that. Hmm. I'm so curious about this imagery as well. Hmm. Madara being the link between Natsume and Reiko? What? 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 What we doing? Oh. What? Natsume's hair looks longer. Oh. Oh. Oh, him from that season. Oh my god. Interesting. Uh, inconsiderate. Yeah. Oh, oh, that's mean. How do you know it's a he? Ah, interesting. Oh. Natsume's like, damn it. Natsume's hair looks different. It looks a little bit longer. Is Tanuma gonna be the friend that comes along? That'd be the only one. NITAI-SAMA. Ooh. Of course. Sorry I brought you along this. Aw. Okay, about this guy we're gonna meet. Oh my god. Tanuma not liking someone? That'd be the day. Ah! I don't care about you. Well, he wanted to. Ah! Yeah, about that. Uh, what? A beanpole? Oh! Oh! Oh man, Shibata being the third wheel on this date? Yes, please. Shibata, you being a wingman? Oh my god. Oh, no reason, none of your business, sir. Yeah, very. I mean, that's good and everything. Uh-huh. No. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh, he does. Doll Mansion of Satogi. Clearly, it's not nothing. Yeah. Well, now you can't just mention that and not talk about it. Why else did you bring him here? Oh my god. Oh. okay. Okay. Hmm. Why would he care about this little girl? Well, that's creepy. Yeah, very. What a creepy, ominous title for that house. Yeah, that's a great question. And stuff. Don't worry about the stuff. Ooh, that has a creepy vibe. Hmm. Do you see a yokai? Oh, well, of course! Damn it! Every time! You think Natsume would get used to it by now. I wonder if this is an anime-only episode. Yeah. Oh, is that a problem to you? He's going away, so we're gonna have the whole house to ourselves. Oh my god! What? What? Oh my god. Obviously. This feels anime only for a lot of reasons, which we're going to talk about in the discussion. Oh. True. Look at Nyanko being a wingman. Look at Nyanko being a wingman! That's right! Oh my god, Shibata. Okay, this is Hisoya's voice actor, isn't it? That's doing his voice? It sounds like it. Why are you coming? It is Hosoya. Ah! Tanuma's like, well, I mean... Oh my gosh. It's Levi and Reiner talking to each other, which is absolutely hysterical. Oh, you better believe it. Ooh. Creepy. I love the angle, the perspective there. Of course. Natsume's like, this is going to be a romantic dinner for two, but since you're here... Ah! Oh my god. Ah! Aww. Yeah, what's up? Oh. Oh, now we get it. Oh, like an exorcist? Oh, shit. What? What? That sounds terrifying. And also like something an exorcist would do. What? Oh, and that's the two faces. Yeah, the two faces that were in the window. What a weird episode. How bizarre. There's so much going on here. Ah! Yeah. Right. Sure, I'm sure you believe that, but you don't. Uh. Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. Ah! Oh, are you wanting someone to shower with you, Shibata? Happy Pride Month indeed. Tanuma's like, it's a good place. It's a good thing we're in a giant place. That space like, I'm right here. I love Nyako since they're just following them. Interesting. I also like they don't question the cat eating all the fried rice. Alone, by the way. Aww. That face was cute. Right, yeah. Okay. Oh. Don't say that. Right, exactly. He likes that. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh. Oh my god! Sure. The negotiations are successful. Tanuma doesn't seem like much of a negotiator. Oh my god. Nope. Absolutely not. Where's Shibata? Where's Shibata? Nope, don't you bend down. Not there for the jump scare. Nope. Oh my god. Oh shit. Uh-huh. Oh. But there was only one. Probably. Okay. Yeah. Ah! Oh, okay. Well, sure. We'll let that law of physics go with this. I love you consistently asking Tanuma what to do. You got this thing, right? You can do this, right? It's a pretty long ass shower Shibata's taking. Yeah, oh, there we go. Well, maybe he's like a 31 product kind of guy. Oh, hell no! Oh, hell no! Nope! Man, how Soya's voice has deepened so much since we last saw him. Aww. The conditions are acceptable. I'm surprised Shibata's not asking, why'd you show that cat that talisman? Of course, the attic, every time. Every time. I don't know if let's split up gang is always the way to go, but... especially two people that don't have powers to see yokai. Fair. Fair. Uh-huh. Hmm. Well. Well, shit. Man, Tanuma's like, I hope I have good insurance on this house. Oh, what? Oh my god, no! Nope! But there's two of them, aren't there? Okay. Okay, one down. Yeah, that's creepy. Oh my god. The lighting in this is so eerie. Oh no! Shit! No! Hmm. Ooh. Fair. Ooh. So he has such a good voice. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. Well, shit. Crap. Oh, can you see the outlines of it? Oh, or maybe you could just tell. Okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. But is Shibata gonna see? Okay, all right. Oh. Well, let me explain to you how an exorcism works. Oh. But you got a boyfriend and everything, and I didn't know. Natsume's book of boyfriends. Oh my god. Oh. Even though you knew what I am, we know what you are. Someone who sees yokai. Oh. Aw, see? Now we become better friends. Okay. Okay. Aw. Ah. Ah, okay. Okay. Ooh. Correct. Mm-hmm. The yokai of a dying tree. Yeah, that was an episode. Mm. Mm. Interesting. Oh. Oh! Oh, shit! Oh, I was about to say. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. Yeah. I was like, you weren't supposed to talk, Nyanko Sensei. Aw. What a crazy episode. I can't decide if it was anime only or not. I can't decide. We'll talk about it. I could see it being real, being based off the manga. But I could also see it not being, so I don't know. Aw. Also, the idea that he said that Nyanko Sensei talk like an old man. Grandpa vibes, just saying. Just saying. Aw. So pretty. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we should probably talk about this. What an interesting episode with Shibata back. What? I couldn't decide if this was anime only or if it's based on the manga. I guess we'll find out. Whether it's this season or next season, whether it's actually anime only or not, I guess we'll find out. But I was really surprised. I did not expect Shibata to come back. And I was like, how long has it been since Shibata has been in an episode? Well, Shibata's first appearance was episode 3 of season 3. I was like, it's been 3 seasons since we've seen him. Look at him coming back. And for episode 3 of season 6. What? So yes, he is voiced by Hosoya. I could not tell, I don't believe, back when we first met him in season 3, because that was recorded in 2011 when he first appeared, which was 14 years ago. And then this episode, I looked it up, where he comes back, was 6 years later in 2017. I was like, oh my god, which was still 8 years ago. Wild, but you can definitely tell. I feel like there is a moment where Hosoya's voice started to deepen and get a little bit more gravelly and raspy, and I feel like that was around 2017, which, you know, around the time Attack on Titan he was in there, which the fact that Hosoya is Reiner in Attack on Titan and Levi is Natsume is just so mind-blowing. But yeah, I feel like his voice started to get like a deeper, raspier tone around 2016, 2017, and it became more the voice that I'm familiar with. So what a wild time to come back and have them be like, hey, you want to reprise your role for another episode? And it's like, okay, why not? I honestly was not expecting Shibata to be on the other end of the line. Whenever Natsume answered, I was expecting it to be like one of Natsume's relatives or something like that, which Shibata is a much more welcome presence than one of his relatives. So Natsume's hair also looks longer in this episode, especially on the phone, which is interesting. And I like that Natsume's instantly like, I don't want to talk to you. Natsume's just like, because honestly, Shibata was such a controversial person back in season 3, because it's interesting to see how much Natsume has changed since season 3, but at the same time, he kind of regresses a little bit with Shibata around, because he doesn't know how much Shibata's changed, if he's changed at all, and what that entails. So it was nice to have an episode with someone from Natsume's past be reintegrated into Natsume's life after he's changed so much, because Natsume's gone through quite a bit between seasons 3 and now. Quite a bit. So I just like how sassy Natsume is with Shibata, being like, I don't want to hang out with you. I've got plans with a friend. And he's like, bring him too. And he's like, what? I just didn't know, because there was a part of me that felt this episode was very anime only. Like, we need something to happen this season. We don't have room for anything beyond 11 episodes. So let's have Shibata come back. Wouldn't that be a gas? Only because there are a couple of times in this episode where Natsume kind of, I don't want to say regresses, but like when he gets scared of the yokai in the window, like that felt very season 3 as opposed to now, because Natsume is just kind of like, I feel like Natsume is not as scared like he was here of the yokai now, but again, who knows? Who knows? And there was other parts where I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, if it feels manga original, if it feels anime only. So it'll be curious to see what the end result ends up being, because there have been episodes where I was like, oh, that has to be anime only. And then there was a manga chapter for it. And I was like, okay. And then there's some where I was like, oh, that seems completely based off the manga and it was anime only. So I guess we'll see. But man, Natsume's Book of Boyfriends, am I right? Hi, Pride Month. No. I think maybe it's because of the way that Hosoya voice acts the character, but everything about Shibata was like the third wheel in this. And Tanuma is so easygoing. Tanuma is like, go with the flow, like, sure, whatever, it's fine, we can all hang out. But there were some moments in this episode, the way that the subtitles worded it, I was like, oh, show, do you realize what you're saying? He's like, fine, as long as you're back by dark, it's okay. And I like that Natsume is like, hey, if this guy even remotely comes off as being a bad news, just let me know and we'll go home. Which Tanuma would never do that. Tanuma's a saint. But it's funny that Natsume says that, because he knows how Shibata was kind of like threatening to tell Nijimura and Kishimoto, oh my gosh, Kishimoto and Nijimura about Natsume being able to see yokai. He was threatening in the last time they saw each other. So, there's not anything. It's like when Shibata asks if Tanuma can see spirits, he can't lord that over Natsume's head, but Natsume's afraid that he'll try something else. And again, Natsume's kind of protective of Tanuma and Taki, because they're like part of his really close-knit support network. And he tells Sensei not to talk, but he does in the end, which is funny. And of course, I love Shibata's like overreaction of thinking that Nyanko's possessed and they have to like exorcise him. I thought about that during the episode. Like, would Shibata be somebody who would be prone to getting recruited by the exorcists? Would that be something that would happen? And I thought about it for a moment. Like, Shibata's very aggressive and very like forward and very much like reactionary, and I could see him there was a part of me throughout the episode that was like, I wonder if the exorcist would recruit Shibata. But then there was another part of me that was like, no, I don't think so, because Shibata was in love with the yokai and had that relationship with her. And I feel like Natsume doesn't think this, but if Shibata saw how the yokai were treated by the exorcists, I don't think he'd be about it. I think he would take Natsume's side and be like, oh, well, they shouldn't be treated like that, because he had the experience with the yokai that he fell in love with. So that's my thoughts about it. I thought about it throughout this episode. I kept coming back to that idea of like, would he get recruited by the exorcists? But I don't think he would be. And it's funny that he teases Natsume so much. And Natsume gets so flustered by it because we don't usually see Natsume get flustered, which is really funny to me. Usually Natsume is so calm and easygoing and very super gentle, but around Shibata, he gets kind of worked up, right? And not worked up. He only gets worked up really around two people, and that is Matoba and Shibata. With Matoba, it is coming from a genuine place of fear and anger at Matoba, but with Shibata, it's coming from a place of, like, I don't want you to threaten me, and what are you doing? And kind of being more annoyed with him. It's also kind of interesting because, like, Tanuma and Taki are so, like, gentle and congenial around Natsume, but Shibata kind of, like, isn't afraid to call him out and be kind of, like, abrasive, which Natsume's not used to. So I feel like it's good to have someone like Shibata around to kind of, like, rile Natsume up sometimes. And he's like, oh, this is Tanuma. And he's like, you look like a beanpole. I was like, and then of course our boyfriends are both like, we don't look like a beanpole. I'm like, Shibata, were you wanting to go on a date with Natsume and then you got third wheeled? Is that what you were planning to do? Were you going to make this a date and then Tanuma got, brought along, Also him telling, like, Natsume to chew thoroughly that he's paying for it. That's like pushy boyfriend vibes. I was like, that's so pushy boyfriend vibes. I think Shibata was wanting to go on a date with Natsume, and then Tanuma came along, and then it made everything a wash. And then he, by the end of it, was like, I mean, if you're up for all three of us. I really think he thought that was what it was going to be. But I think he also brought Natsume along, not only to go on a date, but also to tell him about the doll mansion, and possibly as a way that he could help him. I think Shibata wanted Natsume's help without outright saying it. So he was like, I'm going to tell you about this mansion and this doll thing, and hopefully you're cool with it. And it's like, okay. But he asks, Tanuma if his dad being a priest enables him to see ghosts. And he's like, no, I can't. But he's told me scary stories and rumors. So, and Natsume, kind of seems a little bit indignant at this moment. Like, he doesn't want Tanuma to get too far involved with Shibata because he's afraid that he might get implicated in all of this. It's fun to see Natsume in a position where he can't quite control what's going to happen, because usually Natsume has been in a position of control, whether he's realized it or not, because usually with the yokai being involved, because Natsume can see the yokai and Tanuma and Taki cannot, it's one of those situations where he can kind of tell them what to do or tell them to stay back because he's the only one that can really be in action. But with Shibata there, that dynamic kind of changes, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see Natsume kind of put in this position where he's not fully in control of the conversation. So yeah, the doll mansion he talks about, and he's like, oh, well, that's not what we're here for. It's like, what else were we here for if that's not what we're here for today? Come on. That part there made me kind of think it was manga or anime only, but, who knows? But he's like, I come to this park all the time. He's like, you know how the girls love me, right? And Natsume's like, get to the point. It's like he's kind of, I feel like in some forms, Shibata is what Natsume would like to think Notori is, or thought Notori was before we got to know him. But yeah. There's an elementary school girl who comes here that she's not doing well, and she said lightning struck the house next to hers. Now, that was another part too. Does it seem like physically feasible for lightning to open up a door? I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? But anyway, so the doll, NITAI-SAMA, ends up getting out. And I like that Madara's little, like, ear twitches at the news of that, right? So yeah, Natsume sees NITAI-SAMA in the window and kind of freaks out, but it's like, come on now, we all know this. And then he's like, you're gonna go stay at Tanuma's place tonight, and he's like, well, yeah, his dad's on a business trip, and it's like, his dad's gonna be away tonight because of a meeting. This entire, like, social eating desserts, it was absolutely like feeding my shipping fuel, because there's Tanuma over there like just sipping tea like, yep, he's coming over, don't ask what we're gonna do. And Natsume's like, his dad's out of town, don't ask what we're gonna do. And we're just, having a good old time. We're watching the place, and then Shibata's like, well, it sounds like you're having some fun, huh, Natsume? And I was like, what are we suggesting? I was like, what are we suggesting, show? What? I was living And then he's like, so seriously, if you had something to do, you could have just told me to go away. At that moment, Shibata's like, if you were planning on just going out with your boyfriend and already had one, you could have told me and spared me the news instead of me trying to wine and dine you when you're already dating someone. And Natsume's like, what are you talking about? Oh my God. I lived during this. He's like, I tried to make you go away. Now, again, this things that make me think this is anime only is they have this little spat and Tanuma's like, I could date you both. And then he's like, I'm going to hit the bathroom. So it's like, there was this moment, I was like, did you just have this moment of sexual tension? You're like, I got to relieve myself and leave to go to the bathroom? Or what made you immediately have to go to the bathroom? It was just very plot convenient for him to leave so that Tanuma and Natsume could talk about what to do. It was just so convenient in the moment that I was like, but who knows? Maybe it's a manga panel and they just merged it together. And Natsume's like, oh my God, I can't stand this guy. So Natsume's like, yes, I saw something in the window. He's like, I don't think I'm going to be... And here's the thing. He's like, I don't think I can stay the night because it might follow me. And then Madara is like, but wouldn't it be better to fight it at the temple? And you don't want to put the Fujiwaras in danger, right? There were just little parts about this conversation that seem kind of counterintuitive to the growth we've seen Natsume make. Like Natsume's, relied more on Tanuma as we've gone and things like that. So, but I don't know. Or it could be the show commenting on how even though Natsume's made all these strides, he's not perfect. And there's moments where he regresses. I don't know. I guess we'll find out as we go. We'll see. And Tom is saying, I don't mind. Yeah. He's like, it's fine. Your place is better equipped to deal with yokai. And that's when Shibata is like, deal with yokai? I want to come too. Yeah. And Natsume's like, why are you here? And he's like, well, if the ghost is following you, then I'm going to fight it too. He's like, I owe you as much. And I love Natsume saying, you just met Tanuma today. You can't stay at his place. Take him out to dinner first, not just dessert. Oh my God. If you told me this was a BL, I would believe it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Especially Tanuma being like, I don't care if he comes over too. I swear, there are moments where this series, I'm like, it could be a BL. I would not be opposed. And Shibata's like, well, I kind of started all this, so I need to come and help you finish it, right? So they make dinner together, and Natsume's like, I wanted to do this with Tanuma alone, but okay. I guess we can make the fried rice, and it's fine. But yeah, so the three of them eat, and that's when Shibata tells about NITAI-SAMA and explains that it has to do with the dollhouse and all of that. And that explains the two dolls, and Natsume's like, well, that explains what I saw in the window. And they're like, well, what do we do now? I guess that's coming here. Of course, Shibata is like, he brought this up and he's the one that's scared. I mean, why not? So, yeah. So, Shibata goes, and also Shibata's saying, like, I don't think I can shower alone. I was like, what is this episode? So he does go get a shower alone. The longest shower in human history, because so much goes down while he's in the shower. But to be fair, to give Shibata credit, he was getting dressed and getting his hair dried and all that while this was going on. So we'll give him a little benefit of the doubt. We'll give him a little benefit. But yeah, Tanuma's like, he came with us anyway, so we can't, be too mad at him. And Natsume's like, I don't want to get him too much involved, because Natsume's like, the last time he was involved with a yokai, something he cared about evaporated from sight. So he's like, I don't really want to get people involved. And I like that Tanuma talks about how he appreciates Natsume kind of giving him orders, which I'm like, do we have a kink, sir? But anyway, I'll be serious. But he basically was like, you giving me orders kind of, shows that you want me here and that you're involving me. And that's growth from before, when you wanted to keep me as far away from the yokai and the situations as possible. Shibata's a nice buffer, because Natsume doesn't want Shibata involved, he has to get Tanuma more involved. And Tanuma's all about that. Also, that makes me think that Tanuma might have a little bit of a prone addictive behavior for Exorcist, because if Exorcist, I feel like Tanuma likes to be needed. Tanuma likes to be needed, and needed by Natsume specifically, but that makes me worried that Tanuma would be a good recruit for the Exorcist, because they'd be like, well, you can help and we need you to help us. And that's the type of, like, behavior dependency that Tanuma might go towards. So that's frustratingly scary. But I don't think that Tanuma would join the Exorcists unless they were like, don't you want to save Natsume? And then he'd be like, sign me up. And Natsume would be like, what are you doing? So who knows? It hit me in this episode that could be something that occurs down the road, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. So yeah, and then Natsume's like, I'm always dragging you into this stuff, and that's when Tanuma's like, it'd be more scary if you just insisted on keeping me in the dark. I'd prefer that you'd help me more, and just hearing you tell me what to do makes me think that you're maybe counting on me, which he is. So, Tanuma likes to be needed, Natsume. Take notes. I thought it was hilarious that Nyanko-sensei had the melon, and he's like, yes, this ritual magic that created these dolls, which sounds very much like something an exorcist would do, so keep that in mind. He's like, I will help you in exchange for this melon I found in the fridge. It's not even Natsume's melon, it's Tanuma. It's his. He's like, if you give me this melon, I will assist. And he's like, yes, negotiations are successful. And then he's like, from your house, I want fried shrimp. And he's like, yeah, if Toko gives you them. So I really like the ambiance and the lighting of this episode, especially when they're going down the hallway. It was super creepy, having like the burnt lights and everything. Lots of jump scares, freaky moments. That doll looking like the damn Grudge. Didn't need that, but there it was. They did do a nice callback to Tanuma getting the headache, although it only happened with the one. So again, is this an anime only episode or not? Because Tanuma, it wasn't quite consistent with the other doll not affecting him, but who knows. So yeah, also Nyanko-sensei putting his name on the melon is super, super cute. But yeah, so they go look for the talisman, and they put the talisman on one of the dolls, and then Nyanko-sensei like becomes his normal self so he can exercise it, essentially. Meanwhile, they have to go up in the attic and find the other talisman while Natsume draws out the dolls. Which, this was a pretty creepy sequence. Pretty creepy. I'm gonna be honest. I also, anytime talismans are thrown, I instantly think of Sailor Mars being like, in the name of the moon, or in the name of Mars, I'll punish you, and then throws the talismans. Instantly think of Sailor Moon. So meanwhile, Tanuma and Shibata are working to scratch the talisman off of the wooden plank. He's like, the stupid NITAI-SAMA thing. Humans are scary, aren't they? For creating such a thing. If we hadn't noticed it, we could have ignored it. But now that we've noticed it, we can't ignore it. That's a really good metaphor for the yokai in general. Once you notice their existence, you can't really... It's like once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. Once you know that Natsume can see yokai, you can't really ignore it. And then Shibata's like, Natsume's always dealing with this stuff, isn't he? And then Tanuma's like, I wish there was more I could do. And Shibata becomes a damn life coach and says, well, just having somebody like you at his side will change a lot, I think. At that point, Shibata decided, you know what? I can't date Natsume. He's already found someone else, but I'll be his biggest supporter. Which, good for you. Good for Tanuma. So they managed to get it off, and that's when Natsume is, like, pinned down by the yokai. Now, do we think that Tanuma saw faint traces of the yokai? It's possible. Do we think Tanuma just realized that Natsume was being held down and was like, oh, that must be because of a yokai? Probably. But yeah, throwing the talisman at Natsume. The doll, like the hair, like the mane coming from the doll, both look like something in a Full Metal Alchemist, and also out of the latest episode of Drag Race All-Stars that I watched. If Nicole Paige Brooks was like a yokai doll. Anyway, Natsume manages to defeat it, and Madara's giant white light of exorcism prevents Tanuma and Shibata from being able to tell it was Nyanko-sensei, which conveniently works up until Nyanko-sensei talks at the very end, and that's when Shibata realizes what's going on. So yeah, also Tanuma holding Madara, super cute, adorable. But yeah, Shibata's like, I just wanted to see you again since it had been so long. I told you that story and got you involved in this. And Natsume's like, now I understand what Tanuma told me. And then, so yeah, I feel like Shibata just wanted to be involved back in Natsume's life again because he had actually missed him. And Tanuma saying, like, you know, some people like to be counted on by you, and we like being connected to you. And Natsume's like, okay, that makes sense. And so he's like, I'm happy you were here, Shibata. You were far away, but you remembered me. And you tried to connect with me again. You kept talking to me even though you knew what I am. That line there, damn. I mean, obviously, it's just talking about Natsume being able to see yokai. But the way that's translated, you could really take, like, a queer interpretation of that. And saying, like, you still wanted to befriend me even though you knew what I am. And it's like the meme, I know what you are, right? So, but I kind of love that. I kind of love the idea that Natsume, he's been pushing people away for so long because he's afraid that if they get involved, they'll get hurt. That him realizing that someone trying to connect with you, don't turn those connections away because they're not only potentially beneficial to you, but you only get so many connections in life, and if you turn them away, there's a chance they might not come back. So it's important for Natsume to make as many friends as you can, Natsume, because there's no telling, like, when he'll need them again. But yeah, that was a really super sweet moment. So yeah, it made me want to help a friend who'd come with me with a problem too. I think it was a nice role reversal because Natsume is always the person that's like, oh, I'll help you if you have a problem. But here, Shibata was like, I wanted to help. And Natsume kind of gets to see it from the other side, which is fun. And then Shibata comes to visit him, which is super cute. And everything's back to normal. The girl's totally fine. And Natsume's like, okay, that's just how it ended up. He's like, maybe it's okay for us to think that we were responsible as long as we don't tell anyone. We'll take credit, but let's not let people know because, you know, if word gets out, things could be rough. And Shibata's like, damn, you really do have it rough. Being able to see yokai isn't all fun and games. And he knows that all too well. I think it's also important for Natsume to have a friend that understands how complicated being connected to the yokai can be. And above Tanuma and Taki, Shibata has a pretty good connection. And he kind of knows how that feels too. So, there you go. He's like, and then Natsume says, I feel bad that he might still be going there. But at the same time, I was happy. Because it's like, yeah, it's happy to know someone had that connection with yokai in the same way that he had. And so he's like, here's a present. And then Madara's like, and they're like, what's inside? And he's like, oh, Kashuo rice balls. And that's when Shibata's like, wait, that cat talked like an old man. Well, that cat's possessed by something. No, it's just Madara. Oh, this episode was so cute. I love this. I can't believe it's been 3 seasons since we've seen Shibata. When was that on this channel? How long ago was that? I need to know, when did I look at that episode? Because it feels like forever ago. I need to know. When was the last time that this happened? I need to look this up real quick. Of course, they want you to verify everything as soon as you go to look for it. Okay. Season 3 episode, oh my god. Season 3 episode 3 was back in October of last year. Oh my god. That was a long ass time ago. Oh, that was months ago. Months and months and months ago. Holy cow. Well. Okay. Alright. Alright, fair. Fair. That was a really long time ago, y'all. Wow. Okay. Well, this was a really fun episode. I highly enjoyed it. This has been, I've really enjoyed season 6 so far, and next week we get a 2-parter, which is going to be a lot of fun. So, I'm excited, y'all. I can't wait to get to it. I hope you all are excited as well. I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction discussion. I can't wait to hear your comments down below. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah! I'm going to be back really soon with more of Natsume's Book of Friends. Bye!